If you're in this business to control your clients, quit. Quit your job of being an entrepreneur or creative because you cannot control your clients. Welcome to another episode of Casual Mondays. I mentioned this before, please talk to me. Communicate with me however we communicate in the virtual world. If you know me well enough, give me a call or text me. If you know me through social, DM me. If you're only on a YouTube subscriber, comment. The more I know about you and what you need, the more I can help you. So, perfect example, I put on Instagram to give me some topics to talk about. One, dealing with a difficult / needy client while keeping your sanity. And then the second one is best practices on how to kindly fire a client. I guess this episode is about working with clients. I think this applies to everyone. So there's a multitude of reasons why your client could be difficult. So what do you do? This strategy is called the macro-micro strategy. When my clients come to me with a challenge and they're talking very specifically about something, I often contextualize it in the big picture if we're going down the wrong path. And then the vice versa. If they start talking big picture, then I get into the specifics of what has got to be done now. Because a lot of times in a collaboration, if you're getting feedback on something very specific and tactical, and we feel like it's going to deter us from the bigger picture, the bigger deliverable, the bigger brand strategy, we need to recontextualize that and then make it understand that, yes, we can make these minor changes, but wait, we're going to miss our deadline because we're already on we're at final delivery. So I can make the changes. Of course, we're a team, but let's not even get into budget overages. Like, we're going to miss the deadline and this is due. So is this really needed? That's a perfect example, right? I went big picture, deadline, blah, 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 getting into the overarching. And that's a game of mental chess. And this is not manipulation. This is partnership, right? You and your client are partners. The challenges between you and a client is expectations. If you don't understand their expectations and align with it, it's where and understand that their expectations are at that moment. There are different types of clients, and the challenge of a relationship, we can kind of summarize in a couple of things. So there are veteran experienced clients that have worked in blue chip companies who understand the creative process, understand the briefing process, understand strategic process. A lot of times, you know one because they come to the meeting with a deck. Anybody who opens the meeting with a deck, like a well-formatted deck with and gives you kind of a business update when you work with big companies, a lot of times someone can come like super prepared, and that I wouldn't say is the easiest client, but that's one type of client. The next client is maybe someone who works in a bigger company. They've done a lot of stuff internal. So they're not used to working with an external company. So they don't have a clear brief. They have obviously sales goals and brand objectives, but like how to actually work with you'd have to develop it together. Then there's a third, which is the direct-to-consumer client or the founder-based company that has just never worked with an agency or creator or creative before. So this is like complete, like they might not even have a brand positioning. Like they're basically like, I got to sell more of this product. Can you help me? I want to do a cool video. I've oversimplified to 3, but let's say we have 3 different types of clients. And these 3 different clients have advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is like the agility of a smaller client to do something cool, creative, and daring, maybe not overbearing yourself with strategy and approvals. The middle client having the scale of big budgets, but going on the gut and just doing something amazing. And then 3 is with a seasoned client like that who has clear objectives, the ability to do something at scale, like really big, right? Activated in multiple channels. So there's pluses and minuses. But we're going to get into the minuses of the challenge of these 3 clients, how to deal with it, how to continue to do great work, how to keep those relationships strong, keep your business thriving. I mean, that is the goal, right? You want these 3 people recommending you to their friends. And a lot of times their friends, this business are one of these 3 people. So the best new business strategy is recommendations, word of mouth. So let's start with our blue chip, top of the line, like seasoned client. This is like deck warfare. So for lack of a better word, it's decks on decks on decks, like living life in decks. Like there has to be a collaboratory way of their point of view of how they run their brand, but they're hiring you. So I'm not saying it has to be proprietary, but it has to be like, you have to have a meeting of the minds of how to kind of connect and understand how to answer their expectations. And a lot of times this is done through really, really, really well-developed decks. I could fill the screen here with like companies.
Oh my God.
where I would say it's like deck culture, and they're amazingly effective companies and not a bad thing. But like if you're having a challenge with the client and you're like, I don't understand why I'm not getting through that client, the need to them is, I have to be honest, a well-created, well-built deck with clear objective, clear strategy, clear deliverables, mapped out, designed, organized. Like that is usually the basis of their expectation before you even get into the work. And there has to be either you're working in their format or there's an integration. The second one, again, we're going to come back to this word expectation a lot. The second, that in-between client, or like I said, who is awesome, has an amazing job, amazing product, amazing brand, but isn't so formulaic. That is really where you have to bring your expertise to the table of process, understanding, to the point of how often you meet during the week, a briefing template. Like, what is your briefing template? Like, you can't ask the client for a brief, then bring you a brief because they don't have a briefing template, and it's taking them super long to now make their own template. And then it's unclear, and you're not clear on their expectations, right? Every great project starts with a great brief, a clear brief. So maybe the most common client to have challenges with is someone who is a founder-based brand, direct-to-consumer brand, whatever you want to say, who has not worked with an agency, doesn't have crazy brand guidelines and expectation books to kind of integrate with, which you have in the first two, and you are doing it from scratch. And also, they might not even be open to it. They have to kind of bring this creative through their organization. So they're going to need those decks. This person doesn't need like a deck. They're just like, I just want to hire you. And also their budgets aren't probably huge, right? So they're not going to pay for all this work. So how do you like quickly and accurately get a clear understanding of their expectations and understand how you can deliver exactly what they want, but make it cool and creative and not exactly what they want? They're hiring you to make their idea great and better. And if you just sometimes deliver exactly what they want, they might not even like that. Like your responsibility is to make it great and better. I'm not going to lie, this is a lot of work. So, I mean, all of them take work in different styles, but the idea of how to find that medium, that even medium, and maybe it's not a full deck, it could be a bullet pointed out email or like a Word doc, or maybe there's like, there's a multitude of technologies that sometimes people do actually like, right? There's tons of ways to kind of find a working process of clear, defined boundaries and understanding of what's going to make this great and where to go. And make sure that they're clear on that. Clear on deadlines, clear on early briefing, clear on budget, clear on work, showing examples. I feel like it's a little more like visual kind of gut-based things, right? Maybe you don't have to get to the depth of how this film was made or why, but literally like for your blank $1,000, I could make a video like this. Obviously it's going to be different, but is this what you want? And this is the biggest challenge. Always follow up with thanks for that conversation and have it in writing. Let me end this fairy tale really quickly is even if you have it in writing, you can't go back and say, but hey, look, I emailed you that 2 weeks ago. Because they're going to be like, yeah, I'm really busy. I didn't read your email that I hired you to write for me. Like you're kind of in a jam, but it's just nice to have that kind of tracking. And in the end, continue to show visuals, but there may come a point, and this is unfortunate, that if they're just so far out there that you need to part ways with the client. And I have to be honest, like, I don't want anyone giving me a bad review. It's like kind of it's an average, right? Like if you have like a bunch of 5-star reviews on eBay and you get that 1-star review, it just brings the whole thing down. It splits the difference. So how do you part gracefully so that you both feel that it was fair? But I don't even want to ever get to that. I don't say you have to get to that, but I feel like in this world, it's a little bit of the wild, wild west. When I've worked with clients like this, I've gotten calls at 10 o'clock at night. 5 o'clock in the morning, which I love. I love the passion. Like they are living and breathing this brand. They don't have it in words yet. You have to have the intuition to listen to them. Let them talk a lot, take a lot of notes, record. Ask them, is it cool if I record this? It's not what the client's saying, it's what they mean. You have to get to that essence, represent it back. Did you mean this? And then kind of tweak it down. So have a little bit up front, but in the end, it's a challenge. And there's a lot of those clients out there. And there's possibility to do amazing work because, again, they're so excited and daring. These are the underdogs. So they have to take a chance. They have to go there. They have a lot less to lose. They only have much to gain. So it's an amazing opportunity. There's the 1,000 hours. Like I put in way more than 1,000 hours working with clients. I literally talk to my clients. They aren't even my clients anymore as friends. And, you build relationships, you know what I mean? It's a relationship business. And even if you're on a project basis, like, how do you build a relationship with this person and understand how to communicate with them is the question. And I wish it was super linear, but it's not. I mean, I can give you an example of that in my life. I worked with my friends, Brand MeUndies. They were an underwear line. We helped in their early stages doing social content for them. We had content series. I was super excited about the work we were doing. We were like, I mean, I think the brand is a cool brand. I mean, John made an amazing brand. So and we're still friends. We parted ways and we just realized it couldn't work. But it was the same thing. Like every week I was doing work that I was so proud of. At that time, it was really about organic social. There was no algorithm. It was just like doing great work, getting engagement. I mean, it was so super fun. I would deliver the work and they were just like, we're not happy with it. And I'm like, but dude, this is like what we agreed to. And it's like, yeah, and we're not getting enough email signups from it. We're not getting enough follower growth from it. I'm like, well, it takes time. We just started. Like their expectations weren't my expectations. And I was DMing with Jonathan the other day. I mean, like we're still friends. We just realized that I had to be honest. They didn't need what I was doing at that time. They had an internal team. They were doing photo shoots. They didn't need evergreen content. I think it was just a reality of like, they didn't need what I had. So it wasn't it wasn't they were even being difficult. It's like, I wasn't able to meet their expectations. I had to be honest enough to realize that like, they weren't expecting what I had. My expectations weren't they were needed. And we had to part ways and we did it in a good way. And that's happened a couple of ways, With bigger companies, a lot of times, you have clauses in 60 days and 30 days and you can get ahead of it. Hope that's helpful.
Talk about your conversation. How did you part ways? That's what they really want to know.
Well, MeUndies, when I parted ways with MeUndies, I think it was the days when I was a little crazy. I might have been a little bit of a jerk on the call, to be honest. And I got on the phone with Jonathan and we spoke it out. I was fortunate. I knew the founder, and you're going to know the founder. And it's like, you got to talk entrepreneur. We're both entrepreneurs. We get it. Like we're both trying to run businesses here. How do we both run businesses and part ways in a fair way? And I believe in fair over right. I don't know. Even if you're, they could think they're right. You could think you're right. You got to be fair over right. If you're in this business to control your clients, quit. Quit your job of being an entrepreneur creative because you cannot control your clients. Human beings by nature are unpredictable. So thank you who are asking me questions. Those who are commenting, thank you. I appreciate the input. So hope you have an amazing week. It's only Monday, but it's also an important day. Make it an amazing Monday, the foundation of a great week, and keep it casual. Peace.